$1 million of taxpayer money. That is the figure at the center of a new congressional investigation into the FBI. Lawmakers allege that the agency's director signed off on more than $1 million in special bonuses to a small inner circle of agents. Today, we follow the money because this is not really a story about politics. It is a story about how your tax dollars are supposed to be controlled and what happens when someone allegedly bends the rules. Let's be precise from the start, because accuracy matters here. These are allegations. They come from Congressman Jamie Raskin, the top Democrat on the House Judiciary Committee, who has launched a formal inquiry. FBI Director Kash Patel has not been charged with any crime, and the claims are unproven. What we are examining is the financial mechanism, how federal bonuses work, and why $1 million in payments has triggered an oversight fight in Washington. Here is the core of the allegation. According to Raskin's letter, Director Patel approved more than $1 million in awards and bonuses. The money allegedly went to a group inside the Bureau known as the Director's Advisory Team, along with agents on his personal security detail. Some individual bonuses reportedly reached as high as $40,000, with certain agents receiving recurring payments totaling tens of thousands in a short window. To understand why this matters financially, you have to understand how federal pay actually works. Government salaries are not arbitrary. They follow strict published schedules, and on top of base pay, agencies can grant awards and bonuses for performance. But that bonus money is still taxpayer money, and it comes with rules. Crucially, there are statutory caps on how much total compensation a federal employee can receive in a year. Those caps exist for a reason. Federal premium pay and awards are generally limited so that no employee's combined compensation blows past the ceiling tied to senior executive pay levels. It is a guardrail designed to stop exactly this kind of controversy, where leadership could, in theory, shower allies with cash. Raskin's investigation alleges that some of these payments may have exceeded those statutory limits. If true, that is a serious financial compliance problem. Now, who is at the center of this? Kash Patel is the director of the FBI, a close ally of President Trump, who is confirmed to lead the Bureau. The director's advisory team that Raskin references is described in his letter as a small, hand-picked group of agents. We are quoting the congressman's characterization here, not stating it as fact. The point for our purposes is the money trail, not the personalities. So why should you, as a taxpayer, care about bonuses inside one federal agency? Because every one of those dollars came from public funds. The FBI's annual budget runs to roughly $11 billion, all of it appropriated by Congress on behalf of taxpayers. When that money is spent, there are supposed to be controls, documentation, and limits. An allegation that $1 million flowed to a favored few raises a basic question: who is watching the spending? There is also a timing element that makes the financial story sharper. The allegations surfaced amid reporting about budget pressure inside the Bureau, including periods where rank-and-file operations face strain. The contrast at the heart of the criticism is simple: large discretionary bonuses for a small inner circle set against a backdrop of belt-tightening elsewhere. Whether that contrast holds up is exactly what an investigation is meant to determine. Raskin's inquiry does not stop at bonuses. In a related demand, he and other lawmakers have asked Director Patel to reimburse taxpayers and produce records over the use of a government jet, citing personal flights and travel. Again, these are allegations and requests for information, not proven findings. But together they paint a picture that oversight officials say is about one theme: the proper stewardship of public money. Let's talk about what a bonus actually is in the federal system, because the word gets thrown around loosely. Awards can be cash performance bonuses, retention incentives, or special act awards. Each category has its own justification requirements and dollar limits. The system is built on the assumption that awards reward documented merit, not loyalty. The allegation here is that the criteria may have been about proximity to leadership rather than performance. Here is the accountability machinery that exists for situations like this. Congress holds the power of the purse, meaning it controls federal funding and can investigate how money is spent. Beyond Congress, there is the agency's Inspector General and the Government Accountability Office, both designed to audit spending. So when $1 million allegation lands, multiple financial watchdogs can, in principle, pull the records and follow the paper trail. The phrase being used by critics is a personal slush fund. That is strong, loaded language, and it is the framing of the lawmakers making the accusation, not an established fact. In plain financial terms, a slush fund means money used outside normal controls for favor purposes. The investigation will hinge on documentation. Were these payments properly justified, approved, and within legal limits, or were they not? It is worth restating the other side, clearly. Agency leaders do have legitimate authority to grant bonuses, and security details and advisory staff can be eligible for awards like any other employees. High-stakes, high-pressure roles sometimes carry premium pay. Nothing has been proven, and Director Patel's office has not conceded any wrongdoing. The financial question is narrow and specific. Did the payments follow the law or exceed the caps? For context, federal pay scandals are not new, and they almost always come down to documentation. Over the years, audits have flagged agencies for improper bonuses, excessive travel, and awards that skipped required justifications. The pattern is consistent. The problem is rarely the existence of a bonus, but whether the paperwork and the limits were respected. That is why Raskin is demanding records, not just answers. Let's put $1 million in perspective. Against an $11 billion budget, $1 million is a sliver, a rounding error in raw percentage terms. But oversight is not only about size. It is about precedent and principle. If senior officials can direct discretionary cash to loyal staff outside the rules, the dollar amount can grow, and public trust in how taxes are spent erodes. Small numbers can signal big governance problems. What record would actually settle this? Investigators would look for the award justifications, the approval signatures, the dollar amounts per employee, and the running totals against the annual pay caps. They would compare the payments to the published statutory limits. If any employee's combined pay crossed the legal ceiling, that is a concrete, documentable violation. If everything sits within the limits, the story becomes a political dispute, not a financial one. The statutory cap is the technical heart of this. Federal rules generally tie an aggregate limit to senior executive pay, so that base salary plus awards plus premium pay cannot exceed a set annual figure. Agencies are responsible for tracking this in real time. An allegation that recurring bonuses pushed several agents past that ceiling is, at its core, an accounting and compliance allegation, the kind auditors are built to test. So what happens next in the process? Raskin's letter requests documents and a response by a set deadline. The agency can comply, negotiate, or push back on the scope. If answers are unsatisfactory, oversight committees can escalate, request an inspector general review, or hold hearings. Because the majority and minority in Congress often disagree, the political path is contested, but the financial records themselves are factual and either exist or they do not. Why does following the money matter more than the headlines? Because outrage fades, but ledgers are permanent. The dollar figures, the approval dates, and the pay cap math will tell the real story regardless of which side is talking. As viewers, the smartest thing we can do is wait for the documentation rather than the sound bites. In financial accountability, evidence beats accusation every single time. There's a broader lesson here about how public money is supposed to work. Every federal dollar is traceable by design. Appropriations, obligations, and expenditures are logged precisely so taxpayers can hold officials accountable. When someone alleges misuse, the system is meant to produce a clear answer. The strength of that system, not the volume of the argument, is what protects your money in the long run. It is also a reminder of how much discretion sits inside large agencies. Leaders control hiring, assignments, and award budgets. That discretion is normal and necessary, but it is precisely why guardrails like pay caps and audits exist. The tension between leadership flexibility and taxpayer protection is permanent. Stories like this are simply that tension becoming visible with a specific dollar figure attached to it. For anyone who manages money, there is a takeaway that applies far beyond government. Controls only work if they are enforced. A spending limit that nobody monitors is not a limit at all. Whether it is a federal agency, a corporation, or a household budget, the same principle holds. Discretion without documentation is where problems begin. The FBI allegation is just a high-profile version of a universal financial truth. Let's address the political reality without taking sides. The investigation is led by the minority party, while the administration and its allies control other levers of power. That means the outcome will be fought over politically. But the financial facts, the actual payment records, are not partisan. A dollar amount is a dollar amount. That is why serious analysts focus on the documents and treat the rhetoric from every direction with caution. How might this resolve? There are a few clean outcomes. The records could show every payment was justified and within limits, ending the financial case. They could show technical overages that get corrected and reimbursed. Or they could reveal serious violations that trigger referrals and deeper investigation. Each path is possible, and right now we simply do not know which one the evidence supports. Whatever the result, the dollar figure has already done its job of focusing attention. $1 million is large enough to feel real and specific, yet small enough to investigate line by line. That makes it the perfect test case for whether the financial accountability system actually functions. In a sense, this is less a story about one director and more a stress test of taxpayer oversight itself. If you want to track this responsibly, watch for 3 things. First, whether the FBI produces the requested records. Second, whether an inspector general or the GAO opens a formal audit. Third, the actual numbers, the per-employee totals measured against the legal caps. Those 3 signals will tell you far more than any press release or cable segment about where this is really headed. Step back, and the theme is timeless. Public money attracts scrutiny because it belongs to everyone and to no one in particular. That is its great vulnerability. The systems we build, the caps, the audits, the disclosures, are humanity's attempt to guard a shared pot of money from quiet capture. Every allegation like this is a test of whether those systems still have teeth. So here is the honest bottom line. A congressional investigation alleges that more than $1 million taxpayer dollars in FBI bonuses went to a favored inner circle, possibly beyond legal pay limits. Director Patel has not been charged, the claims are unproven, and the records will decide it. As always, the money tells the truth long after the shouting stops. Follow the ledger, not the louder voice. If you appreciate money stories told straight, with the numbers front and center and the hype stripped out, then this channel is for you. We break down the biggest financial controversies in business and government every week, always following the dollars. Hit subscribe so you do not miss the follow-up, because when those FBI records finally surface, we will walk through exactly what they reveal. See you in the next one.